My name is Chris Northover, and I have a supermoto problem. If you ask me, supermotos are the best thing on earth. I have a massive addiction to them. In my mind, they combine all the fun and stunts and jumps and riding in stupid places that you can have on a dirt bike with the skids, knee down, drifting and fast road action of a sports bike. Plus, they suit the roads I like best. I'm talking tiny single track lanes, lumps, jumps, bits of gravel, grass growing out the middle. Ride down that stuff on a Panigale and you age about 10 years per mile. Ride down it on a supermoto and you have the biggest smile you've ever had on your face. Now, if you're looking for something to do 200-mile days, chomp across Europe, and have a big touring bike, this is not for you. But if you're looking for a bike to put a massive smile on your face, no matter what the ride, whether you're burbling through a 20-mile-an-hour limit, charging down a single-track back road, or riding around an empty car park, then supermotos are the place to be. And I couldn't be happier when Ducati announced they're going to make one too. So now we have Ducati and KTM in the ring fighting out for top honours in the big single supermoto world. Today I've been testing the new Ducati Hypermotard 698 Mono. The first single cylinder engine Ducati has made for years. And much as they started back in the day with their supermonos, they took their current superbike engine, actually in this case the 1299 Panigale engine, chopped it in half and used those cylinder dimensions to build what they think is the ultimate single cylinder supermoto engine. The whole engine weighs under 50 kilos. It makes under 80 horsepower until you put the race kit on it, and with the race kit on it's pushed it over the 80 horsepower, but it's also revving to 10,250 RPM. That's a little bit higher than KTM, and they're taking that as massive kudos that they've outdone the KTM for high revs. So Ducati's super proud of this new engine they've made. They've thrown a lot of tech at it. Like I said, the Panigale engine, they've actually put the liner in from the Superleggera, the super lightweight aluminium liner. So they've put some really expensive bits in the engine and made an incredibly lightweight single. Again, I could point out and be cheeky here and mention that KTM's single cylinder engine they claim is about 1 kilo lighter, but actually in the whole bike, like for like, I mean, you're going to be talking half a kilo between them. Until I actually put a set on a set of scales, it's difficult to judge what that's going to be, but their claimed weights are very, very close. Now, enough about boring spec sheet stuff. What's it like to ride?
Right. Hypermotard 698 Mono. It's our third session on track. It's gradually been drying out. Super treacherous damp patches. So we're still running in road mode, quite a soft setting. But genuinely, this thing is an absolute riot. Obviously you have to talk about the KTM's SMCR at some point when you ride this. And the first few sessions it felt vaguely familiar, but then the more I've ridden it, the more you notice a few little differences that make it a little more Ducati.
The Hypermotard is a Hypermotard. It is an absolute riot. It wants to do skids, wheelies, drifts, but the best thing is it has an electronic rider aids package that can teach you to do that stuff.
This slide control system on the ABS is really, really good. It gives you so much ability in the corners just to learn to back it in. That is literally all on the slide control. You hit the front brake, stand on the rear brake, and it just backs the bike in for you.
So if you're not someone who's comfortable backing a bike in and sliding it, if you're not someone who's comfortable wheeling a bike, get a Hypermotard, because it has a backing in slide control where you hit the front brake, stand on the rear, and the bike will just sit out and you can decide how much you want it to slide. It's a really, really idiot-proof system, and I had a lot of fun with it on track today. Of course, if you want to push things a little bit further, turn it off and get your skid on.
Wheelie off.
Off?
Yeah.
Wanna try the first one?
No, off.
Likewise, the wheelie control. If you buy Ducati's factory fancy pack with the Termini exhausts, the fancy air filter, It comes with a map for the wheelie control that lets the bike sit right up high in a wheelie and just holds it there, just maintains the wheelie. It takes a little bit of commitment to trust it, but again, awesome features that can take someone who doesn't really like doing stunts or isn't confident enough to do them and give you that safety margin to try and push your riding to new boundaries. What an absolute riot. So we've just done our 3 morning sessions on the standard base model bike. It has the quick shifter on it, so it's not quite fully standard. What an absolute riot. Yeah, such an easy bike to ride compared to its competitor, which is, keep saying that, we know what I'm talking about. It definitely is a little smoother. The rider aids are definitely a lot more sophisticated. It has like this slide control on the way into the corners. It has a really good traction control system, and it's a bit easier to set those up. The dash is still basic, but it's a lot more sophisticated than the other bike. It's easy just to get on and push. I didn't feel like it was like juddering in the hairpins, or when you're trying to ride slow and tiptoe, it didn't feel pushy, it didn't feel aggressive. Again, we were using road mode, so maybe on full power mode it is a bit snappier, but we're on full power, but like the softer throttle map. But honestly, damp, awkward, wet patches, and it was absolutely right. I had one moment when I tried to switch from riding leg out to riding knee down, and still at this sort of pace, your knee's a long way from the floor, so you're hanging off a lot. I had a big 2-wheeled slide across this damp patch. I was like, ooh, okay, we'll go back to foot out.
Oh, that wasn't very nice.
One of the things Ducati said, they wanted to make the rider ergonomics work for riders that ride knee out and that ride foot out. It is easier to ride knee out, I think, than the Gas KTM Husky, but it's still a Supermoto shaped bike, so it's still a little awkward if you're used to a sports bike, but you kind of figure your head out around that pretty quick. But yeah, out on track, absolute riot. I didn't really miss the torque off the corners massively. I thought I would, but maybe later, once it gets a bit drier and we've got some more grip, I will start wanting a bit more hit off the turn, which the KTM does have. But so far, the extra revs mean you're changing gear less because you can sing it out down the straight. And the power is being smooth, meant it was really usable in these conditions. Also, I noticed, not too vibey. My hands are in pretty good shape after 3 sessions. I'm not tingle-fingered, medical term that. So that is a big plus, especially if you're looking at this for a road bike or blasting to shops or work, or it's a little bit more sophisticated in those situations, which again can only be a good thing. Things I've not loved, it feels quite big. It's wide across the seat, it's wide between the rad shields. Okay, I guess that gives you more room and makes it more comfortable, but it feels big. It doesn't feel as like tiny and playful as I'd kind of want it to feel. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Other than that, properly awesome bike. We've got 3 more sessions this afternoon on the RVE. That's got the race exhaust, so that's the higher horsepower one. So yeah, excited to try that and see what the noisy pipe can do to it.
Slicks, a sort of dry-ish baby track-ish, and the RVE model. So this is with the race pack, the different airbox, different exhaust, different wheelie control, and over 80 horsepower. So I'm going to ride now, we're on the slicks, and I have a drier track. I'm going to ride knee down now. What an awesome fun bike. Thank you Ducati for giving the Supermoto sector some love. It's an interesting proposition because Ducati have really built this to try and attract younger riders. That's what they're saying, which in all fairness, me tazzing around a Supermoto track has very little to do with. This is aimed at people who want to ride stunts, do wheelies, pull skids, rip around the city streets and have fun with their mates. I mean, it's good for that, but those people who are more into motorcycles for riding and going fast sake, makes an epic track bike. Lots and lots of fun. Thank you.
I spent a lot of time saying a lot of good things about this bike today. Let me be honest, you could give me a cheap scooter you found in the bin and send me to this track and I'd come home with a massive smile on my face. It's just doing skids on a go-kart track. It's freaking awesome. But one thing I have noticed about the Hypermotard is it made all riders together start pushing, start doing skids. So the more nervous riders, along with the super pro riders from Ducati, everyone came off the track with the same smile on their face. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Oh, this is our last session of the day. I'm gutted. I've absolutely loved this bike. Let's get one thing straight. I'm a huge fan of supermotos. And the fact that the Gas KTM Husky now has a sparring partner in this Ducati, in my mind, is only a good thing, because it just means more interest, more people entering the class, more people on supermotos, and they are so much fun for so many reasons. They're easy to get on and ride, they're forgiving, they're great for doing stunts on. And if you're looking to improve your riding skills, they're also a really good way to do that.
It's not perfect. I definitely found if you're a hardcore supermoto fan, it's a little bit soft still. It's still heavy. It's not a 450 race supermoto. Still over a 10 grand bike. So I don't think many teenagers are going to be rushing out to put a 35 kilowatt restrictor kit on it and have it as their first bike. That said, if it's a bike that gets more people excited about doing skids and wheelies and having fun on a bike that isn't the latest all-singing 200 horsepower thing with wings, then I think that's only a good thing. Hypermotard 698. Flipping awesome. Just to finish up, obviously there's the massive question looming over us here. Is it better than the KTM SMCR / Gas / Husky? I'm not telling you that now. I'm going to save that because I don't want to answer that question without spending a really good amount of time on both the bikes on the road at the same time. And it is going to be an absolute riot finding out the answer.